Ariel Helwani just broke down the latest on the historic UFC White House card set for June 14th on the South Lawn, and the heavyweight picture is heating up fast. Helwani reports that discussions are underway for Alex Pereira to face Jon Jones as the main event. This would mark Pereira's heavyweight debut after vacating his light heavyweight title earlier this week to clear the way for Jiří Procházka versus Carlos Ulberg at UFC 327 in April. The bout could be for a vacant heavyweight title or interim belt, depending on Tom Aspinall's long-term eye injury recovery status. While it's not locked in yet and momentum isn't overwhelming, the idea remains alive as a massive super fight for the event. If Pereira and Jones doesn't come together, the UFC's backup plan is Pereira facing Ciryl Gane for the interim or vacant heavyweight championship. On Conor McGregor, Helwani says he's more likely to return during International Fight Week on July 11th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas rather than the White House show. The White House event has limited fights and lower financial upside without pay-per-view revenue under the new Paramount deal, making a big money McGregor return better suited for the traditional Vegas slot.
Alex Pereira is no longer the light heavyweight champion, and I can tell you right here and now that there have been some talks of him fighting Jon Jones on the White House card. Jon Jones on the White House card is not dead. I don't feel, as of right now, a ton of positive momentum in that direction, but I'm not here to tell you that it's dead. There have been talks of this, and I think if they don't get it done, what I'm hearing is they would do Alex versus Ciryl Gane. Now, the only thing bigger than becoming a 3-division champion is being the first guy to beat Jon Jones. He wants that. If he can't get that, he's fighting for interim or, undisputed / vacant gold. And then that would get him to, hopefully, Tom Aspinall when he comes back. Big fight is coming for Alex Pereira. So we're either getting, in my opinion, Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones, or we're getting Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane. It doesn't look like it's going to be Conor on the White House card. They have a International Fight Week main event or card scheduled for July 11th in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. There's a greater chance of him fighting on that card than on the White House card. There's no money to be made. In fact, they keep touting the fact that there's money to be lost from the White House event.
Khamzat Chimaev just called out Colby Covington for a grappling match on the RAF mat after watching his teammate Arman Tsarukyan compete. Chimaev took to X and posted a direct challenge tagging Colby, calling him a clown and suggesting they settle things in real American freestyle. At the same time, when asked if he's injured amid speculation about his inactivity since winning the belt, Khamzat shut it down quickly. "No, I'm waiting for Strickland. He's made it clear he's ready and targeting Sean next, especially after his dominant TKO win over Anthony Hernandez at UFC Houston and his immediate post-fight call-out." Dana White addressed Chimaev's ambitions at the UFC Houston post-fight press conference, saying he'd rather see him defend his middleweight title before jumping divisions. White questioned the idea of moving up without at least one defense, emphasizing that champions should handle business at their current weight first. The middleweight title situation remains intriguing. Chimaev's lack of a defense frustrates contenders. Strickland keeps pushing for the shot, and the UFC appears focused on keeping him at 185 for now. That is exactly what Paul Felder discussed in a recent podcast appearance. Let's dive in.
I'll be honest, I actually like Khamzat's chances in that fight if it were to ever happen. However, here we go again with people wanting to jump all over the place. Haven't even defended your belt. That's where I go, okay, if he's 2-3 fights into defending that belt, man, fuck yeah, let's go. I'm all about that. But I'm always going to be the Debbie Downer when it comes to these kind of super fights when guys are champions and there's clear contenders that should be in line. Obviously, he's got to move up to 205 for it. Do you make him give up the 185-pound belt, or do you make an exception this time around because you so desperately need big mega fights for that White House card? You let him fight Pereira for the 205-pound belt and say, okay, only under the circumstances, no matter what happens in that fight, your next fight is defending the belt against Imavov.
Arman Tsarukyan just sparked a massive brawl after his RAF 6 wrestling match against Georgio Poullas in Arizona. The number 2 ranked UFC lightweight contender won the bout, but tensions boiled over at the end. After time expired, Arman shoved Poullas down, got on top and unloaded punches and a knee, igniting chaos on the mat with more than a dozen people rushing in to break it up or join the fray. The match had already been chippy with slaps and rough exchanges throughout, and Poullas later claimed that Tsarukyan's takedown was a push-out and his points came from penalties royalties, while saying his brother and 62-year-old dad had to protect him from Arman and his team. Dana White reacted quickly on Instagram under a post about the incident, commenting, "This guy can't be serious," a clear sign of frustration from the UFC boss. This adds to Arman's history of post-fight incidents and could impact his standing, especially as he pushes for a lightweight title shot after recent grappling side quests. The brawl has gone viral fast, with fans debating if Tsarukyan's temper cost him again or if Poullas provoked it. Here's Poullas' message to fans post-brawl.
Alright, I want to send a message to all my fans and supporters. I want to thank you guys. I hope you guys got some enjoyment out of the match tonight. Unfortunately, I was jumped, but as you guys saw, my 62-year-old dad and both my brothers came to my rescue. That's the way we were brought up, to fight for each other no matter what. We're outnumbered by like 12 Armenians, and they came out there running, fighting with me, fighting for me. So that's fucking love. That's how we were raised. To Arman, you're a little bitch. And by the way, if you guys watch the match, I'm the only one that got a takedown. He got pushed out and a couple penalty points. I'm still the champ, baby.
Kamaru Usman is still laser-focused on a welterweight title clash against Islam Makhachev. On the latest episode of their Pound for Pound podcast with Henry Cejudo, the Nigerian Nightmare laid out his case with full confidence, calling it the biggest matchup the division can make right now. Kamaru is manifesting a massive year ahead, believing both he and Makhachev want this super fight, and it's now on the UFC to pull the trigger. At 38, coming off a solid win over Joaquin Buckley, despite a rough stretch before that, he sees himself as the proven name with the resume, former champ, record title defenses at 170. That makes this a blockbuster, pound for pound king versus the guy who dominated the UFC for years. He kept it respectful toward the young guns, but doubled down that Usman versus Makhachev delivers the highest stakes and biggest draw in the new Paramount era. When Henry weighed in on the welterweight landscape, specifically the controversy around Michael Morales' recent record update, Cejudo argued the loss, which was later removed, should actually stand as a defeat because clear footage showed him getting submitted. All right, let's hear what Kamaru had to say.
2026, I'm manifesting it being a big year for me, and so that's what I want. I believe that's what Islam wants as well, and I believe now it's up to the company to make that fight. I believe right now it's the biggest fight in the division to make. Don't get me wrong, that's no knock on what Michael Morales has done. That's no knock on what Carlos Prates has done, because these young men they're definitely putting in work. That's no knock on them. But right now, I believe if the company wants to make the biggest matchup in that division, I think it's Islam Makhachev versus Kamaru Usman. And so, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. But I'm excited. 2026, I'm excited for what the future holds for everyone.
Yeah, man, that Paramount deal, it went from $60 a year to $90. What's up, Uncle Dana?
That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.